My man Czar make tracks like this.
What's going on, y'all? I want to compare the Chop Shop 500 series to the recently announced Chop Shop plugin. So on the left, I have the plugin version, and on the right, I have the Void Corp edition Chop Shop 500 series EQ. This is a special edition, however, it doesn't offer any different features as the standard Chop Shop. It's just a special edition that Louder Than Liftoff offers. And just as a little Easter egg with the plugin, shout out to D. Lyles for noticing this, but if you double click the logo, you'll also get the blackface Chop Shop in the plugin. But here we're going to go over a drum loop that I created with the machine, and we're going to use the Chop Shop EQ on it. The Chop Shop EQ is one of my favorite EQs for drums, vocals. The tilt EQ on it is very useful for when I want to balance the vocal, add a little bit of high end while cutting some low mids or low end at the same time. So the top track is going to be the plug-in, and the green track, the bottom track, is going to be the hardware. So let's take a listen. And now let's take a listen to the hardware. Okay, and on this loop, I'm going to start with the Chop Shop plugin bypass so we can hear it without any processing. And on the next loop, I'm going to bring in the plugin, and then on the last loop, I'm going to bring in the hardware. So again, we're starting with no processing. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to flip between the hardware and the plugin so you can hear the immediate difference. Okay, so what I'm hearing between those two, I wouldn't say that one sounds more analog than the other, but it does have a slightly different tone for the low end here. The plug-in, I feel, is a little more brighter, while the hardware is more punchy in the low end. If you go back and listen, like really focus in on the kick drum, and you can hear the different tones that both of these give with the kick drum. Another great use for the Chop Shop is on vocals. If you like to do those really high-passed, almost telephone type effects, Chop Shop can offer some really cool effects for that as well. But back to the hardware here versus the plugin. I think Plugin Alliance did a good job modeling this. The hardware does sound slightly different, but it's not a difference as to where I feel like one clearly sounds better than the other. It's a almost like it's a preference difference here. Like I said, if you go back and really listen to the kick drum, you hear the different tones that each one gives for the kick drum there. So depending on if you have the hardware and the plug-in, just, depending on which would be a better preference for you on the kick drum. So there you go. There's a quick look at the Chop Shop EQ plugin versus the hardware on a drum loop here. One thing I will say with the plugin, you have access to the lowrider mode that you see here, which on the hardware is something that you had to access by a jumper in the back. So as normally with plugins versus hardware, you get a little more features on the plugin version. Any questions, comments, let me know, and I'll catch y'all next time.